If they truly cared, they'd make time for you. Now let that one sink in for a second. We live in a world where our thumbs can send messages faster than a thought can form, and yet, here we are, waiting. We text, we wait, we wonder. And what do we get in return? A flicker of a bubble, and then silence. Sometimes it feels like we're all running around in circles, chasing after a connection that's slipping through our fingers. But let me tell you something. Folks, the power isn't in your phone. It's in your stillness. It's in the moments of silence that are meant to speak louder than any text ever could. Think about it like this. Have you ever tried to catch a butterfly by swatting at it? The more you chase, the further it flies away, doesn't it? But when you stay still, when you calm your movements, that butterfly might just land on your shoulder. That's exactly how it works with love and attention. The more you scramble to fill the silence, the more distant it becomes. And yet, if you just let go, if you trust the pause, something beautiful starts to happen. The truth comes rushing in, and you'll finally see where you really stand. Now, I know what you're thinking. But if I don't text back, won't they think I don't care? Let's break that lie right now. Real connection doesn't need constant validation. Real connection isn't measured in text count or how quickly someone can respond. It's measured in time, in patience, in how two people feel when the phone goes silent. The truth is, when you stop texting back immediately, you're not ignoring them, you're respecting your own value. Silence isn't a punishment, my friends. It's a test. It's a test of self-control, of trust, and of understanding your own worth without needing someone else's validation to confirm it. Here's the reality. When you text right back, you're telling them, I need you to make me feel complete. You're chasing. But when you let the silence stretch, you're saying, I am enough, with or without you. It's like standing in front of a mountain, folks. The mountain doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't rush. It stands, firm and still, and yet it commands respect. That's you. You don't need to chase after someone's attention. You need to stand in your own peace and let them come to you, the right people. They'll be drawn to your calm. They'll respect your space. Let's be real for a second. How many times have you sent that text, the just checking in kind of message? You know the one I mean. You're spiraling, thinking, did I say something wrong? Are they with someone else? Should I text again? But here's the truth, my friends. Chasing isn't love. It's panic. And panic? Well, panic is loud. It's desperate. It's weak. But you're not here to beg for attention. You're here to become so rooted in your own worth that nothing, not even silence, can move you off your center. You don't need them to prove you're worthy. You already know it. And that's the power of stillness. Time will always reveal what you mean to someone, and trust me, it doesn't need to be rushed. The more you wait, the clearer it becomes. If someone values you, they won't leave you wondering. Their actions will speak louder than words. The ones who are meant to stay, they'll make their way back to you, and you won't have to chase them down. You'll see, time will always show you the truth about what's real and what isn't. So let me leave you with this. I don't chase, I attract. Say it with me right now. Type it in the comments. Own it. Live it. Don't rush to fill the silence with uncertainty. Stand still. Stand strong. Let time do the work for you. And hey, if this hit home, smash that like button, subscribe, and stay with me because this journey's just getting started. Let's dive deeper into why waiting isn't just an option. It's the secret to unlocking the love and respect you deserve. Number 1. The illusion of instant communication. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Let that sink in. We live in a world where speed is worshipped, where the faster we do things, the more valuable they seem. We text, and in an instant, we get a response. We post, and before we can even blink, someone's already liked it. We expect replies in seconds, answers in minutes, attention every waking moment. But here's the thing, real connection doesn't come with a stopwatch. Relationships, like anything meaningful, take time. They take space. They take patience. Think about it this way. Have you ever planted a tree? If you rush the process, if you try to force it to grow faster than it's meant to, you're not going to get a sturdy, lasting tree. No, you'll get something fragile, something that falls over the first gust of wind. But if you allow it to grow at its own pace, with enough space and care, you'll have something strong, something that will endure, something that will stand tall. That's what real connection is about. You can't rush it. You have to give it time. And yet, how many of us are guilty of checking our phones every 5 minutes, feeling that rush in our chests when we don't get an immediate reply? The fear starts creeping in. Did I say something wrong? Are they mad at me? What if they're talking to someone else? That anxiety, that overwhelming need for reassurance, it's all tied to the illusion that speed equals value. But it doesn't. Just because you get a quick reply doesn't mean the connection is real. It might just mean they're as addicted to the rush of instant gratification as you are. And here's a hard truth, my friends. If you're addicted to the rush of fast replies, you're not building something solid. You're building a house of cards, waiting for the first wind to blow it down. But you? You don't need to chase instant communication to know your worth. You don't need to constantly be texting, waiting, wondering, to measure the depth of what's real. Because real connection, real, deep, meaningful connection, is built on something much stronger than speed. It's built on trust. It's built on space. It's built on patience. And trust me, folks, if you don't give it space, it won't grow. You're treating your relationships like a race when they're really a marathon. They require endurance. They require time. The people who truly matter, they'll wait for you. They'll give you the space to breathe, to grow, to be. But let's be honest for a second, this isn't easy. The idea of waiting, the idea of giving someone space, it's hard. Why? Because we're conditioned to expect instant gratification. We've been sold the lie that faster is better. Quick texts, fast replies, instant attention. We're living in a world that tells us we need all of it right now, or else it's not worth having. But here's the real kicker, this obsession with speed. It's not just ruining our relationships, it's ruining our peace of mind. It's teaching us that if someone doesn't reply right away, it means something's wrong. We spiral, we panic, we start doubting ourselves. But what if, just what if, that silence wasn't a bad thing? What if it was the universe giving you time to grow, giving you time to build your own life, your own peace, without the constant noise of waiting for someone else's approval? What if that person, in their silence, was testing your strength, testing your ability to stand on your own 2 feet? The fear of waiting, of being in the unknown, can be paralyzing. You want answers. You want closure. You want to know where you stand. But the truth is, answers come with time, not rush. The real test isn't in how quickly someone replies. The real test is in how well you handle the space between replies. It's in how comfortable you are with your own company, with your own thoughts, with your own peace. And I know this isn't easy. It's tough. It's tough because we've been taught to seek validation from others. We've been taught to rely on the instant, the now, the quick. But let me tell you something, my friends. When you can resist the urge to chase the immediate reply, when you can sit in the silence and still feel whole, that's when you know you're building something real. And that's when the people who are truly meant for you will start to recognize it. They won't be able to resist the energy of someone who doesn't need constant validation. They'll be drawn to your calm, your strength, your patience. So the next time you're waiting for a reply, when you feel the urge to check your phone again, remember this. You are not defined by their response. You are not defined by how quickly they reply. You are defined by how you handle the space, how you hold your peace, how you continue to grow while you wait. And I promise you, real love doesn't need constant texts. Real love will stand the test of time, the test of silence. Now, I want you to say this with me. I don't need the rush. I trust the process. Write it in the comments, my friends. Own it. Let the world see that you are no longer a prisoner to the illusion of instant communication. Let them see that you know your worth. And hey, if this hit home, smash that like button, subscribe, and stay with me because we've got a lot more coming your way. Trust me, it's about to get even deeper. Number 2, why you shouldn't text back immediately. You are not a puppet to be controlled by the strings of someone's reply. Let that sink in. Seriously, let it hit you. We've all been there, sitting with our phones in hand, staring at the screen, feeling that overwhelming urge to reply immediately. The dots appear, then disappear, then reappear. The mind starts racing. Should I say something funny? Should I ask them how their day was? Should I wait longer to seem cool? And then it happens, the automatic reflex. We send the text, we wait. We check our phones every few seconds. But here's the thing, my friends. Every time you rush to reply, you're letting someone else control your emotional rhythm. You're letting their response dictate your mood, your energy, and your sense of peace. Patience isn't just a virtue. It's a sign of strength. Real strength. Think about it. When you can sit with the silence, when you can resist the urge to fill every moment with communication, you're showing emotional control. You're showing that your peace isn't for sale, that your emotional world doesn't revolve around anyone's immediate feedback. You're standing firm in your own worth, and nothing, not a text, not a phone call, can take that from you. Now, I get it. The need to text back immediately comes from a place of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being left out, fear of appearing too available or not interested enough. It's the trap we've all fallen into. We get a message, and suddenly we feel like we're on a timer. We're rushing to reply, hoping to make a good impression, hoping to secure that connection. But here's where we go wrong. When you rely on someone else's message to dictate your happiness, you're giving them too much power over your emotional state. You're putting the weight of your worth on someone else's response. And let me tell you this, folks. Your worth isn't tied to a single text. When you choose patience over instant replies, you're telling them something powerful. You're saying, I am not desperate for your approval. I don't need you to respond right away to feel good about myself. You're standing in your own value, and trust me, that's magnetic. The ones who truly value you won't leave you hanging. They'll appreciate your strength, your ability to maintain your composure, and they'll respect the space you give them. Patience is the ultimate test of connection. It's easy to send a quick text. It's easy to play the game of fast replies and constant check-ins. But the real test, the real measure of a connection, is how well you can withstand the silence. Can you wait? Can you trust that time will reveal whether this person is worth your emotional investment? Are you strong enough to allow the space to build something solid? Waiting isn't about punishing them. It's about preserving your emotional strength. You're not playing games or trying to be mysterious. No, You're simply refusing to let your happiness hinge on someone else's actions. You're taking control of your own emotional world, and that's the kind of person people respect. When you can resist the urge to reply immediately, you show them that you're not just someone they can text to pass the time. You're someone who commands respect, someone who is fully comfortable with themselves. Now, I want you to say this with me. I don't need immediate validation. I'm enough on my own. Type it in the comments, friends. Show the world that you're no longer a prisoner to the need for instant communication. You are the one who sets the pace, not the other way around. Number 3, silence is not rejection, it's an invitation. When they don't reply, it's not a door closing, it's an invitation to step into your own strength. Think about that for a second. In the age of instant communication, silence has become one of the most misunderstood and feared things. We've been conditioned to think that if someone doesn't reply immediately, it's a bad sign. Our minds start racing. Did I say something wrong? Are they not interested anymore? What if they're with someone else? And that fear, that anxiety, it eats away at us. But here's the hard truth, my friends. Silence isn't rejection. It's an invitation. Let that sink in. When someone doesn't reply right away, it doesn't mean they're not interested in you. It means they're giving you a gift, space, silence. In that moment of quiet, when your phone is silent and the dots aren't popping up, you're being given the opportunity to grow. Yes, grow. Growth doesn't come from constantly being validated by someone else's responses. It comes from learning to be okay in the stillness, in the space between words. I know it's hard. Trust me, I do. It feels unnatural at first. Your mind starts running wild, thinking that if they're silent, they've lost interest. But pause for a second. Take a deep breath. What if their silence wasn't about you at all? What if it was about giving both of you the time and space to be your own person, to reflect, and to build your own strength before jumping back into the conversation? Silence isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's an opportunity to get stronger, to get clearer about who you are without the constant need for someone's attention. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind is howling, the sky is vast, and you feel small, insignificant. Then the silence comes. The wind stops. The chaos fades away. It's in that silence that you find your clarity. You stop worrying about the outside world and start grounding yourself. You start to realize that you don't need to chase after the wind to feel alive. You just need to stand still and breathe. That's what silence gives you. A chance to breathe. A chance to reflect, a chance to find your own inner peace. The mistake so many people make is reading silence as rejection. It's not. Silence is the universe's way of asking you to turn inward. It's your moment to reflect on what you really want, on whether this connection is truly adding value to your life. And more importantly, it's an invitation to check in with yourself, to make sure that you're not seeking someone else's affirmation to feel whole. You're being asked to find your own worth, to remember that you are enough with or without a reply. When you can sit in silence without spiraling into doubt, without seeking external validation, that's when you become truly magnetic. That's when people will be drawn to you, not because you're chasing them, but because you're grounded in your own power. And let me tell you, nothing is more attractive than someone who knows their own worth, who isn't desperate for constant attention, who can sit in the stillness and remain strong. So the next time someone doesn't reply right away, don't freak out. Don't fall into the trap of thinking it's rejection. Embrace the silence. Take a step back and let the space between you become a place where you find your strength. Use it as a moment to grow, to reflect, to become even more grounded in who you are. Because in the silence, You're not losing anything. You're gaining everything. Now say this with me. Silence doesn't define me. My strength does. Write it in the comments. Own it. Show the world that you can stand tall in the stillness, that you can rise in the quiet, and that your worth doesn't depend on a reply. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because we've only just scratched the surface. Trust me, what's coming next will blow your mind. Stay tuned. Number 4, what you're really waiting for. What you're waiting for isn't a text, it's the truth. Now, let that hit you. Every time you send a message and then stare at your phone, waiting for a reply, what are you really waiting for? Are you waiting for that little rush of dopamine that comes from seeing a reply? Or are you waiting for validation? That instant reassurance that they care, that they're still interested, that you're not being forgotten. Let's be real for a second. How often do we let someone else's response define how we feel about ourselves? Here's the hard truth. Someone who truly values you won't leave you questioning. They won't make you wonder if you said something wrong or if they've lost interest. If they are genuinely interested in you, their actions will speak louder than any text. They will show up. They will reply when they say they will. They won't leave you hanging, anxiously refreshing your messages, wondering if you're just an afterthought in their day. But we've all been there, haven't we? We've all fallen into that trap of waiting for the next text, refreshing our screens like the next notification will somehow confirm our worth. But listen, my friends, true commitment isn't about quick replies or constant texting. It's about consistency. It's about showing up, not just when it's easy, but when it matters. And that's something that takes time. It takes patience. And if someone's response is delayed, it's not some game or test to see how badly you want them. No, it's their time to reflect. It's their time to figure out if this connection is something they want to nurture. And in that space, you don't need to chase. You need to watch. Here's where we go wrong. We get anxious. We start worrying that the silence means something negative. We feel the need to fill the gap, to send that second, third, fourth message. We think, if I just say the right thing, maybe this will get back on track. But that's not how true connection works. That's not how love works. The more you chase, the more you show that you don't trust the process, that you don't trust your own worth. You start to rely on their response for your own happiness, and that's where the problem lies. True love, true connection, isn't about scrambling for a text. It's about patience. It's about letting things unfold at their own pace. So, what should you be doing instead? You should be watching. Watch how they behave when the immediate response isn't available. Watch if they make the effort to reach out on their own, if they take the time to show you that they care without needing to be asked. Watch how they handle the space between the texts. That, my friends, is where the truth lies. True commitment can't be rushed. And when someone values you, they'll show you that over time, not in the rush of instant replies. Here's the thing. When you can sit in the silence and not freak out, when you can trust that everything is unfolding as it should, that's when you know your worth. You don't need to chase them down for validation. You don't need to keep wondering if you're enough. You are enough. And those who truly see you will recognize that without needing constant reassurance. So, the next time you're waiting for a reply, ask yourself, what am I really waiting for? Are you waiting for a text, or are you waiting for the truth about how much they value you? And when the silence comes, don't panic. Don't chase. Let them show you who they are without the pressure of an immediate response. Now say this with me. I don't chase. I trust the process. Type it in the comments. Own it. Show the world that you know your worth doesn't depend on anyone's immediate reply. You trust your own value, and you trust that the right people will always make time for you. Number 5. Time will always reveal their true intentions. Time doesn't lie, actions do. Let that sink in for a second. We've all had those moments where the silence stretches longer than we expected. The dots disappear, the texts don't come, and we're left wondering, what happened? But here's the truth, my friends. Time is the ultimate revealer. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how many hours or days go by. What matters is how they act when that time passes. The absence? It's not a mystery. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to see who they really are, to see if their interest was genuine or if they were just passing through. If someone is truly invested in you, they won't let time drift without making their way back. They won't leave you hanging indefinitely, wondering if you said something wrong or if they've moved on. No, if they care, they'll show up. They'll make an effort. They'll reach out. Their actions will speak louder than any text, any emoji, or any quick reply. And if they don't, if they remain silent or distant, that silence isn't your fault. It's theirs. Time exposes it. It shows you where you truly stand. Here's the catch, though. The more you chase, the less time you give them to show their true intentions. When you're constantly texting, constantly checking in, constantly trying to get their attention, you're not giving them the space to reveal who they are. You're not giving them the chance to prove whether they're really interested or just playing games. And you know what happens when you chase? You're not only draining your own energy, but you're also allowing them to take control of the dynamic. But when you stop chasing, when you allow time to do its work, that's when the truth comes out. That's when you see who is really committed and who was just filling up space in your life. The ones who truly care won't disappear. They'll come back when they're ready to invest. The ones who don't? Well, the absence will expose them. And that's not a bad thing, my friends. That's clarity. So remember this: time doesn't lie. In stillness, you'll find out who's meant to stay and who was just passing through. Don't be afraid of the silence. Don't be afraid to let time reveal the truth. Say this with me: I trust the process. Time reveals all. Type it in the comments, own it, and let the world see that you're no longer afraid to let time work its magic. Number 6. The Stoic response: stay grounded, stay still. Silence isn't a threat to your worth. It's the canvas for your strength. Let that resonate with you for a moment. We all know the feeling when you send that message and it's met with silence. The waiting begins, the uncertainty creeps in, and you start to wonder, did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? What if they're talking to someone else? But here's the truth, my friends. Your worth is not tied to someone else's response. In fact, silence isn't something to fear. It's an opportunity, a chance for you to rise, to show your true strength, and to practice the Stoic approach to dating. You can't control how others act, but you can control how you respond. When uncertainty arises, when the reply doesn't come as quickly as you hoped, remember this: you are in control of your own emotions. A Stoic approach means not reacting to every shift in energy, not letting every pause or delay throw you off balance. It means staying grounded, remaining still, breathing, letting the silence pass over you without allowing it to shake your peace. Real strength isn't in constantly seeking validation. It's in maintaining your composure when it's absent. The key here is emotional control. You are the captain of your own ship, and the waves of uncertainty, they won't capsize you. Now, I know what you're thinking. But doesn't silence mean they're not interested? My friends, silence can be a test, not a rejection. It's a test of your emotional resilience, your self-assurance, and your ability to stand tall without someone else's attention fueling you. When you allow silence to shake you, you're giving away your power. But when you remain centered, you're showing the world and yourself that your worth doesn't depend on the constant ebb and flow of communication. You are solid. You are unmoved. This is where the magic happens. When you stop needing someone else's reply to feel secure, you give them space to show their true intentions. If they value you, they'll come back. If they don't, then the absence reveals what was never meant to stay. And in that space, you'll find peace. You'll find your power. You'll find your purpose. You'll realize that you don't need someone else's validation to know who you are. So, next time the silence stretches and uncertainty knocks at your door, remember, this is your moment to rise above. This is your moment to stay grounded, to breathe, to remain still. This is your moment to show them, show yourself, that you don't need constant validation to know your worth. You already know it. Say this with me: I am grounded in my own worth. I do not need validation to be whole. Type it in the comments, own it, and let the world see your strength. Number 7. Texting is not a measure of interest. Texting isn't love. It's just communication. Don't confuse the two. Let that hit you hard. In today's world, we've become obsessed with the number of texts we exchange, haven't we? We sit there, checking our phones every few minutes, counting the little messages, the emojis, the hearts, and wondering, what does it all mean? Does it mean they like me? Does it mean they care? But here's the truth, my friends. The number of texts exchanged has nothing to do with the quality of your connection. In fact, sometimes the overabundance of communication can be a sign of emotional insecurity. It can be a way of seeking constant reassurance, hoping that more words will fill the void of uncertainty. But real affection, real connection, doesn't work that way. It's not about how often someone texts you. It's about the depth of the bond, the understanding, and the respect that is shared between two people. Think about this for a second. Imagine you're with someone and you're sitting in silence together. No phones, no distractions, just two people sharing space. The silence isn't uncomfortable. It's peaceful. It's the kind of silence that speaks volumes, because you don't need constant words to know you're connected. You don't need to be constantly texting to feel loved. Real affection is about being able to be present, without the pressure to fill the space with chatter. It's about understanding each other without needing to over-explain. When you truly connect with someone, you can be together without feeling like you have to text all the time to prove your interest. That's how deep connections are made. The truth is, texting is just communication. It's a tool, not a measure of love. And if you find yourself constantly texting to keep the connection alive, constantly checking your phone for that next message, then maybe you're confusing quantity with quality. A deep connection doesn't need to be constantly validated through texting. Love is built on actions, on respect, on emotional alignment. It's about how you make each other feel, not how often you hear from each other. Love isn't something that can be quantified by the number of messages exchanged. It's something that's felt through the way you show up for each other, through the consistency of your actions, through the depth of your understanding. Now, I know it's hard. We live in a world that thrives on instant communication, where everyone is glued to their screens. But real love, my friends, doesn't rely on constant texting to stay strong. It relies on the moments of silence, the time spent together, and the quality of the interactions, not the quantity. When you stop measuring love by the number of texts you exchange, you'll start to realize that what really matters is the presence, the respect, and the emotional depth you share. So the next time you find yourself obsessing over a message, remember this. Texting is not a measure of interest. It's just a tool. Love is built through actions, respect, and the ability to be present with each other without constantly seeking reassurance. Say this with me: I am not defined by how often they text me. I measure love by depth, not frequency. Write it in the comments. Own it. Let the world see that you understand that real love isn't measured by the number of texts. It's measured by the strength of the connection. Number 8. The ultimate test: letting go of the need for immediate validation. If your happiness depends on someone else's reply, you are handing them the keys to your peace. Let that sink in for a moment, because this is the hardest truth to face. We've all been there, staring at our phones, feeling that knot in our stomach when a message goes unanswered. The dots that don't show up, the long hours without a reply. And with every passing second, the anxiety grows. Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? Did I mess up? We feel that pull, that deep need to get a response, to see that read receipt, to get the validation that what we're saying matters. And here's the problem. When you constantly seek immediate validation from someone else, you are giving away your emotional independence. You are allowing someone else's actions, or lack of actions, to dictate how you feel about yourself. And let me tell you, my friends, that's a dangerous game to play. When you are emotionally dependent on someone's response, you are at their mercy. You are relying on their actions to define your mood, your worth, your happiness. If they reply quickly, you feel good. If they don't, you spiral. But here's the thing. No one else should ever have the power to dictate how you feel about yourself. Your worth, your value, your peace. It should come from within you, not from the validation of someone else. The hardest part? Letting go of that need for immediate validation is one of the greatest tests you'll face in life. It's about trusting yourself. It's about standing firm in who you are, even when you don't get the confirmation from others that you're doing everything right. It's about realizing that their silence doesn't reflect your value and it doesn't define your worth. Their lack of reply, it's simply a reflection of where they are, not a reflection of who you are. When you can embrace the silence with confidence, you are showing yourself, and them, that your happiness isn't dependent on someone's reply. This is where emotional independence comes into play. Imagine standing in front of a storm. The wind is howling, the rain is pouring, and everything is chaotic. But there you stand, unwavering. The storm rages around you, but you stay solid, grounded, calm. That's emotional strength. That's the power to remain steady in the face of uncertainty. And that's the test, the moment when silence enters your life, when the reply doesn't come and you don't panic. You breathe. You trust that your peace isn't fragile enough to be shaken by the absence of someone's text. This doesn't mean you stop caring. No, it means you stop relying on external sources to validate your worth. You stop tying your self-esteem to the speed of someone's response. Instead, you build an internal sense of security. You build a life that's fulfilling, a life that's rich with purpose and direction. And the more you do that, the more you'll realize that your happiness doesn't need to be contingent on anyone's attention. Your happiness comes from within you. Here's where the magic happens. When you stop chasing validation, you stop begging for someone's attention. You stop overthinking every word, every pause, every read receipt. And in doing so, you start attracting the love, respect, and attention you deserve. People are drawn to strength, to self-assurance, to someone who knows their worth without needing constant reminders. When you no longer chase after someone's approval, when you stop waiting for that next text, you become magnetic. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to convince anyone of their value because you already know it. And when you know your worth, the right people will be drawn to you. The reality is, the more you chase after validation, the more you push it away. Think about it like this. When you chase after someone, when you constantly seek their attention and approval, it starts to feel needy, desperate, and desperation. It's not attractive. But when you stand firm in your own peace, when you don't need anyone else's validation to feel whole, people start to see that. They start to respect you. They start to want to be around you, not because you're chasing them, but because they're drawn to your calm, your self-assurance, your emotional independence. So, the next time you're staring at your phone, waiting for that reply, remember this. You don't need immediate validation to feel good about yourself. You don't need to chase anyone to prove your worth. Your happiness is not contingent on someone's reply. It's not about waiting for them to text you back. It's about building your own sense of worth, your own peace, and your own life. When you do that, the right people will show up. And the best part? They'll respect you for the strength you've built, for the calm you radiate, and for the self-assurance that draws them in. Say this with me. My worth is not defined by their reply. I am whole, with or without their validation. Write it in the comments. Own it. Show the world that you are no longer waiting for someone else's approval to feel good about who you are. You are enough. As we wrap up, remember this. Your worth is not determined by someone else's response or the speed of their texts. True strength lies in your ability to stand firm in your peace, regardless of the silence. When you stop chasing validation, you start attracting the love and respect you deserve. If this resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And hey, leave a comment below. Let's continue this journey together. See you in the next one.